Hello, everyone. Well, what's been on top of your mind today and what has caught your attention? What has triggered you lately? Let us know. So, over to you, Dirk. What has caught your attention lately?
Good morning, Romany. Good morning, everyone. Um, so it's the festive season, and something that's been on top of my mind is, and I actually just jotted down one word: consumerism. Where
Okay.
consumerism he reached absolute a peak with Black Friday and Christmas, and so people are doing um, so much shopping. Everybody's got to get gifts. It's got to be a Christmas tree and five meats on the table and all of that. Um, so it reaches a peak now during December, and all of that, or most of that, is on credit. So, to have this massive consumerism model that we've been copying for years, and it's getting worse, it's not getting better. Um, so when people start in 2025 January, they already start on the back foot with more money spent on their credit card. So
Money
for
that they
me,
can't afford to spend, actually.
money that they can't afford, absolutely not. So for me personally, I just stripped away all that consumerism and simplified it and took it down to the basic bare minimum of the reason for the season and the time to not rush around in shopping centers and stand in queues to restaurants, to take that time and sit at home, and enjoy your home and enjoy your immediate family like that, without that constant urge of what are we going to do, what are we going to buy, how much food are we going to get. So it's very important for me because it has a knock-on effect every single year.
It does. It absolutely does. Just to get back to what you were saying, I was listening to a conversation the other day with a couple. They got a newborn baby, and the wife is like, "Oh, we must make it so special for the baby." But I know that this couple is heavily in debt. They've had a really trying time. And now they want to make it all special for the baby and make nice memories. And I'm thinking, but the baby won't even remember, you know what I mean? And that's like the first thought in my head. And here you want to now go and get yourself more in debt by making it very special for the baby. And there's also this other thing where there's a lot of people, especially of a certain generation, probably your more boomer Gen X kind of generation, where they feel under so much pressure to deliver this big banquet on Christmas, and they must go and spend all this money to make sure that there's the right decor and the right food, and there's all this expenditure that I just feel, people understood the meaning of Christmas, they would probably run away from it. And the other one is it's completely been turned into consumer and a consumer practice. And I thought to myself, there are many families that don't celebrate Christmas. I mean, Japan doesn't really celebrate Christmas. You've got a few other countries that don't celebrate Christmas, and you kind of think, well, you know what? It's more important to equip your child for the world they have to operate in versus like giving them everything for Christmas, or making this whole hoo-ha.
Yeah, yeah. In the I think in the 70s, with a one income, the husband worked, he sustained the entire house. Then you could still do it. It was affordable to get the family over, but that model can't work in the current day because things are so exorbitantly expensive and the
Yes.
choices are just overwhelming. And it takes the focus completely off this moment around the table with simplicity and conversation and love and togetherness, not on your phone and who needs a gift and where we're going to rush and we're going to be there at this party and this. It's exhausting.
Yes, it absolutely is. I mean, by the end of Christmas, you're just tired. You just like, and you said something very interesting there that caught my attention was, it's far more, you have far more fun just spending time together and regrowing and nurturing those relationships versus, oh my God. And then, and what Christmas has essentially done is it's kind of resulted in where I've seen like people get upset by the fact of the kind of presents they get, you know? And it's kind of like, well, what is this all about? And I know that a lot of people celebrate Christmas as apparently the birth of Jesus, which it isn't. If you have to hear the dark side of Christmas, I mean, it's something. I mean, I watched a movie once about this Noel, and he was some killer, baby killer in some country, which is linked to Christmas somehow. And then, you know, the other day I saw on TikTok, which I need to go and research. Please, so correct me if I'm wrong here, but you know, I watched this clip where they jingle bells, you know, jingle bells, jingle bells. Apparently, the origination of that song comes from slaves who were walking down the road with jingle bells, jingle bells, you know.
You're
So
absolutely right.
and here we are, jingle bells, and I mean, huh? I mean, how dark is all this? If we start getting
Yeah,
into the spiritual side, the holistic side, the quantum side, there's so many avenues to all this that we are celebrating. And what's been coming to me recently is if we really are, we can change this world. A lot of us believe we can't, but we actually can. And we can because if you understood the quantum process, what we think becomes our reality. And evidence of that is for me in South Africa. I mean, you know, the fact that how we speak, you know, there's a lot of us that believe that South Africa is a great country in a land of milk and honey, and you can clearly see that all around us. And then you've got another side of people that go, oh, this country's so stuffed up, it's fucked up, as they would say, you know, and it's like a mess and it's distorted. And so, well, no wonder it's getting distorted because you are speaking death into the country. And so if we're going to
yeah,
change anything, if you are really serious about changing things, we have to change the way we do everything.
yeah. We got to rethink this whole process. You know, I
Yes,
started with a rethinking and stepping out of it and looking from the outside in, and it's been such an eye opener for me. I still get information or booklets or stuff where people have their fax number on. So you
yeah,
know,
I mean,
just proving to you that people haven't taken that document and looked at it and see, but God, my fax number is still in this communication. So
or they
completely
still
step out
living
of,
or they're still living in that time warp, because there are those who refuse to change. And there are those that will just say, no, I don't want to do this. Do you know what I mean? I hate technology. And so, yeah, they're still operating off a fax machine instead of
yeah,
evolving and changing.
yeah, yeah. But you said, you know, on the everything you create a world by what you think. And if
Mm,
you want to change your world, you've got to start changing the way that you think about your world. You know, it's as
exactly,
simple as
because
that.
it is as
It
simple
was,
as that, because you become the ripple effect. When you change and you change your environment and you do the things that you know what, there's a very good thing that Joe Dispenza keeps on saying. He keeps on saying, you know, you cannot keep doing the same things over and over and over again and expecting a different outcome. If you want to have a different outcome, you have to do a complete overhaul. You have to become a completely different person. You have to become a completely different personality. So what does that look like? If you keep doing the same things over and over and over again, if you keep complaining about the same things over and over again, you're never going to change the outcome.
yeah, yeah. And everything, you know, I want to use a simple example now. And everything starts with your thoughts. So I
Yes.
recently had a client. He was a young guy. He's just married, um, and you know his marriage was not going too well. So I told him, what are your thoughts about arriving home this afternoon? So he says to me, you know, I'm thinking when I get home, my wife's probably going to be sitting in front of the computer. She's going to just snuff hello, and I'm going to snuff hello. And that's what I'm thinking is going to happen. So I say to him, why don't you just change that?
Mm.
When you on your way home, pick a little flower in somebody's garden and see yourself walking in, and instead of just saying, oh, well, you present her with a flower, you give her a little hug, it changes the whole dynamics of everything just by changing the way that you think about one small little.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I love that example because I know I've definitely had challenges in my marriage. I mean, we've been married for 31 years, and I tell you what, there were times where we didn't like each other. And I can honestly tell you, when I went into my mindset, it was like I had these like dreadful, not dread, I wouldn't say dread, but it was like I'd be dreading coming home. I would just like not be interested. You know what I mean? I'd be so I saw that in my own mind, I was causing problems within my own relationship because of what I was thinking. And the moment I started thinking differently, you know, I have a beautiful marriage, I have a wonderful marriage, we get on well, we're on the same page, you know, we connect with each other, because one of the biggest challenges within a relationship is communication, especially around finances, especially around things that you need to decide together. And so, yeah, you know, for me, it was hard to communicate to my husband, not because he's difficult to communicate with, but it was challenging for me. I was scared. For some reason, I had fear in me. And this scaredness in me prevented me from speaking my truth or being open about certain things, which caused conflict within the relationship. And so I had to go, it's easy for me to speak to my husband. It's easy for me to have communications. I can openly just share my truth. I had to spend literally, if you go back in my journals, you can see there's lines, because it was hard for me, not because he made it difficult. It was me creating barriers within myself, within that relationship. So, you know,
Yeah,
and as
yeah,
soon as I changed that dynamic, the response was different. The dynamics were different.
yeah, yeah. And everything was just in your head.
Yes.
It's as
Well,
simple as
some
that,
of
you
it,
know. So to change that the way you did, and look where you are after 31 years. And you know, we say it's as easy as that, but it's as difficult as that. It's
it
not
is.
easy, right?
It,
It's not easy.
it isn't easy, because you have to come back to that scripture that's in the Bible that says faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. So when you're looking at what do you call it? Like they say, you know, you've got to live in the outcome of something that has already happened and it's not happened yet. You know, so you have to live in a future that's not happened yet as if it's now. So you have to ignore all the stuff, you know, around you, the physical that's going on around you, and have to live in the outcome of it already happened and it hasn't happened. So you're still
Yeah,
having this resistance, you're still having these blocks, and you're going, oh, you have to, oh, it's easy for us to communicate. It's easy for us to get along. And the next minute you're like, you're both freaking out at each other. And it's like, oh, it's easy for us to get.
yeah. It's
Because it's about shifting the energy, and that's where a lot of people go wrong. There's a mind that you can say over and over and over again and nothing can happen. So yes, you can spend 6 years with nothing, 6 months with nothing changing, because you're saying it in your head but you're not feeling it in your heart. And that's where the
yeah,
shift has to happen. That's where
yeah,
the energy shift has to happen. And that's why you have to say it over and over again, because it has to come to a point where you have to then stop and meditate and go, what does it feel like? What does that outcome feel like? What does it feel like to be in a beautiful relationship? What does it feel like to be able to communicate easily with the people that you love? You have to
yeah.
feel that energy, and then the manifestation kicks in. Absolutely kicks in.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree 100% with you. And all of that, for me, starts not in chaos. It starts with absolute stillness. Sitting in my garden, listening to the birds, breathing the fresh air, feeling my heartbeat. Then I'm not thinking of this person that owes me 50,000 Rand, or that one snized me out of. So I eliminate all those thoughts. So to start that process, with stillness. And then from there, you allow, or you decide what thoughts you are going to allow. Eckhart Tolle says it's your mind should be like a clear blue sky. And you
Mm.
see the thoughts, the wave coming, the thought or a cloud coming into the sky, and you acknowledge it, and then the cloud just drifts away. So you just take the thoughts that works for you, those thoughts that you want to manifest into your reality. The other thoughts must come and go, but to start in a stillness and with a clear blue sky mind, if you want. And let me tell you, I'm a single guy. I'm not married. I don't have kids, so I can do that. You know, in my home is really very peaceful. But it's probably not the same with people that's married with kids and all other
No, it is.
responsibilities.
It's a lot of challenge. There's very little, and that's the sad truth about how life has become so busy. And again, how we have to rethink and change things, because life becomes so busy that parents and families have very little time to themselves. I mean, by the time you get home, it's already 5, 6 o'clock. Then you must get the dinner on, then you must get homework done, and da. So there's very little time. And then also a lot of people can't stop the chatter in their brain. I know for a fact that when I go meditating, I cannot stop the chatter in my brain. Wrong card. Oh, yeah. So basically, where was I? Sorry, I just had to pull out a card from my husband's taking it.
You can't stop the chatter in your mind.
Yeah, that's the thing. A lot of people can't stop the chatter in your brain. So don't beat yourself up if you can't. Just sit. It's about discipline. You have to retrain your body. Your body is trained into a certain way, and it's really going to take time. So don't beat yourself up. Don't get upset with yourself. Don't think you're not doing it right. It's about just training the brain. And if the thoughts come in, allow them to come in. In actual fact, what's helped me with that is where I sit with a journal. I will sit with a book and I will say, and then my mind goes, oh, this person owes you 50,000 Rand or whatever you say. Then I go, okay, I'll make a note of it. So-and-so owes me 50,000 Rand. Thank you very much. You've reminded me. Now my brain can't tell me that again, you know, because I've told it and I've reminded it. And that's how I managed to slow the thoughts down. Okay, I remember that. Fine. Thank you very much. So it's almost like this rehearsal and this training and this time that you have to take to program your brain to shift the change.
Yeah. You know, our natural state is sitting under a tree, looking at the sunset, smelling nature. That's our natural default state.
Now I have a question for you on that, because people say that that's our natural default state. But then you got someone like me that if I had to go and sit under a tree in the nature, first of all, the grass would start irritating my skin and I'd be full of rashes. And this is from young. This is not, you know, or maybe something shifted when I was 12 or whatever the case may be. And the other one is I'd start sneezing like crazy. My eyes would start itching. So as much as everybody, and this is because I know a lot of these spirit people all say, oh, we must go and sit out in nature and do that. And I'm going, but I can't. So now what? You know?
You can go and sit on the beach. You know, you can go and sit on the beach on a rock.
Well, I do, but then there's people that's not as fortunate as me close to a beach.
Yeah.
So
but that is our default state. So it's not about doing something, it's about undoing something. Okay, sitting on the rock, looking at the ocean, and you're not sitting there to, oh, now I must meditate and I must calm my mind down. Now you must just take a deep breath and automatically you will go to your natural state, your default state. And every now and then those thoughts will come back again. But nature definitely helps. Just to go back to default, to not do, undo.
Yeah, I don't know, hey, because again, like I said, I can't go and sit in nature. You know, it will just really irritate my sinuses. So for me, that would be a big challenge. And coming back quickly to that conversation of what we were saying about Christmas, I just thought I'd share this image because I just thought it says so much in what you were saying today, where it says so many of us are not okay this season. Some of us are grieving, financially stressed, burnt out, and doing the best they can. The holidays are a tough time for so many, and you never know what someone else is going through. So please be kind. And that is so true.
That is very true. You know, looking at that, I see in pictures. It's also a conversation to have with your family at this time of year. What our financial position is, what our financial position in next year, how much or what are we going to spend on gifts? Maybe we can make gifts. That's a lot more personal, and write little cards, to just change not only your thinking as the parent, but like make it a family effort to start rethinking how do we want to do Christmas? Do we want to
Well,
go buy a Christmas tree and put these things up and put it in a box and take it out next year or chuck it? You know, I'm an early riser, so the day after Christmas, I'm up by 5, 6 o'clock. And I remember holidays at the coast with my family. There's just in the dustbins wrapping paper and ribbons and broken toys and half-eaten desserts and that wastage. That wastage on credit is, again, it's like a
double-edged sword.
I just
Coming
can't
back to that,
understand.
so my question is, why are we giving gifts? What is the purpose of that?
Yeah.
You know, do we really need to give gifts at Christmas? Because Christmas is really just about consumerism. It has nothing else it's about consumerism. You know, it's about retail stores making the money, about the corporations making the money out of the gifts that you purchase. And then who sits with the debt? Who sits with the money problems? You at the end of the day. You know, so for me, you have to really question, is it necessary that we give each other gifts? Who are we trying to please in this scenario? Because at the end of the day, it's all about, am I trying to make an impression with the best gift I'm giving? Am I giving what is your reason for giving that gift? You know, because it could be out of fear, out of pressure, out of, oh, it's what we've always done, or maybe or maybe it's ego. You know, it can also be ego driven, because you've seen that where, you know, I'm as like, give the best present in town. You know, you see this with matric dancers now, I've noticed, or these end of years, whatever. It's like they must arrive. How much money is spent on a matric dance for some people? Hey, I don't get it. I don't get this obsession where everybody must try and impress the other person. It's like, even coming back to what you were saying with the Christmas thing now. I mean, these people go out and spend branded money on branded items that cost a fortune, and then they can't eat the next month. How is that a good thing?
But you know, that's the way the system has been designed. People spend on credit, there's interest, knock-on effect, maybe next year they lose their car, or one person gets retrenched, or there's another interest rate. So there are so many variables out of our control that we should control what we do for Christmas and how much we spend and what we're going to spend it on, and all those gifts and excess. That's what we can control. We can't control the knock-on effects that's going to happen after that 30,000 is on my credit card at 20-something% interest rate.
Yeah, no, very, 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 very valid point. Very, very valid point.
But you know, it excites me to think about how I can do it different and how a family can do it different. It's exciting to think, you know what, so we're going to all bake little cookies, and we're going to put it in bags, and those are going to be our gifts to everyone. And it cost 500 Rand. It's special. We made it ourselves.
Nice. I'm hoping to sleep through Christmas. Because, you know, Christmas heals my body. No, sleep heals your body. So I'm hoping to sleep through Christmas so my body can heal more.
Yeah. Now, I've been invited to a Christmas lunch with my Spanish friend, Yvonne. She's a little bit older than me. But when I arrived there, she's got the crystal and a cutlery from 200 years old from a grandmother. And she really makes it so special. So no other place I'd rather be.
Nice. No, that's nice. When you've got big family, unfortunately, my family is all over the world. And so it's really hard for us to kind of get together, but that's fine. My husband and I are together, so we'll do something nice. We'll also, I will spend some time sleeping on that day. So yes, that is what's been on Dirk's mind this week. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining. If you've got any comments, please let us know what's been on your mind. Comment in the comment box. Let us know if you share what your thoughts are on Christmas, how you feel about it. And please, it's not Jesus's birthday. Really, it isn't. So let's get over that and perhaps change that thinking. Because again, if we do not change the way we do things, we can never change the world around us. And the only way we're going to be able to change the world around us is if we change what we think and how we do things. So it's completely up to you. And the energy that you give off into the world, it's up to you. Thank you.
Excellent. Thanks, guys.